hello there, I came up with a really great and interesting Graves build. So as we can see, most of the builds will be something like Yomu's into Collector, Collector into Yomu's. We check the generic builds as well, of course, in here. Collector, Yomu's, Black Cleaver, or Collector, Yomu's, it doesn't matter the order. But that's like the generic path, as we can see, even in higher ranks. It's generally speaking the same thing. Yomu's into Collector, and Yomu's is not inherently wrong, of course. Like, don't get me wrong. Yomu's can be great as a first item rush. It's not necessarily bad, but check out this one. For example, I've written some notes down. So basic attack plus profane hydra is 318 damage, right? Now we can also see it with our eyes. 197 plus 121, right? That's 318. Now basic attack plus profane under 50% HP is 379 damage, right? So right, 182 plus the basic attack, right? 197. So we got 379, right? Also, I don't have any type of like last stand, of course. These are just some random runes I have last stand, my bad, but I don't have like any type of like coup de grace or any type of damage buffers when people are lower on HP. We see the collector damage is 337 if collector crits, right? And generally speaking, you deal more damage with profane hydra. Now I want you guys to see the crit damage as well. So I said 337. Let's just get that crit, man. 337, right, as I said. So why is that an issue? Let's buy both of them in our inventory, so it's easier to like check them out. So we can see the collector, right? It costs 200 less gold. It provides crit, it provides 2 less lethality, as we can see it with our eyes. It provides 20 less ability haste, right? So we do have more ability haste and a bit more lethality, right? Those are the notable features that we can already check out. Now, of course, this has an execute under 5% HP, and you get 25 gold. Now, the notable thing is also the build pathing about the profane hydra. So it does cleave. Now, I know some people are gonna say, but it's nerfed. Yes, it's nerfed on ranged, but it often just provides you just enough with the combination of the activatable to shoot yourself through camps where you need a bit of an extra AoE damage, right? And that's where it will help you a lot, right? Or when it comes to these void grabs, when they are spawned, Tiamat from Profane Hydra will also help you a lot. And it doesn't really messes with your animations, right? The main problem with Collector itself is that its crit is inconsistent. So the issue is you have 2 bullets. You're not like a Jinx that like basic attacks 1000 basic attacks in a minute or whatnot, right? You don't attack that quickly. You actually attack quite slowly and you have limited amount of bullets, which means the crits are quite often inconsistent. Like often you're gonna get a whole combo of 2 rotations of like bullets out of your arsenal, right? 4 bullets in total, and you didn't crit, right? You can get that unlucky, right? So it's less consistent and it also does less damage if people are under 50% HP, right? So the damage difference, if you crit 337 with collector, but even if people are not if they are not somehow under 50% HP, you're still gonna deal very similar damage to crit collector build, but it's gonna be slightly less, but it will be consistent, right? It will be consistent, the damage, and it doesn't messes with your animations. People will think that this may mess with your animations. It doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. You can even basic attack profane, like you can, I mean, you can profane ultra. It doesn't messes. It doesn't messes with anything. Like you can just naturally press it, right? And it has very similar even so range to your basic attack, right? This is your basic attack range, right? And you want to be as close as possible, of course, right? Basic attack, and it's very, very similar actually to your, it's almost the same, right? It just, you gotta be a teensy bit deeper, of course, but it's very simple, you know, like it's almost even to your basic attack range, so it's not hard to utilize it. The other notable thing, as I wanted to mention, your abilities will do more damage because of course they do more lethality, and your basic attacks will do more damage if they don't crit. That's another notable feature. So you're a bit of a better spellcaster because of that 20 cooldown, which is nice to have now and then, you know, have some extra clear speed, have some more DPS in fights, right? It's definitely nice to have. And when it comes down to your E reset, right? So because you have cooldown from Profane Hydra 20 cooldown, that's really nice to have. Your E will reset more smoothly on fights later on, you know, like for example, you're fighting a dude in here, you know, you're chasing the guy, and now at level 9, your E won't reset nicely. I'm gonna be real with you guys, like your E won't reset insanely. Oh wait, let's just turn this off. Your E won't insanely quickly reset, of course, but we can visually see that there will be definitely a differential, because each basic attack reduces its cooldown, right? So each bullet hit from Graves' attack reduce this ability's cooldown by 0.5, right? And if I'm correct, you have like you have 4 bullets, so that's 2 seconds, right? We can visually see that's 2 seconds, right? Now if I say don't have Profane Hydra, it's 12.25, right? Now if I don't have Profane Hydra, it won't be 12.2, it will be 15. So its reset will be a bit less so smooth, which means if you can chase, if you don't have your E up in time, you may not be able to either A, disengage, or B, have more chasing power to actually finish off your opponent. So in some more so niche situations, it could actually matter the cooldown from the Profane Hydra. That's also like a notable feature, but if you do your combo more properly than I do, then you can of course even so like do the Lucian thing where you just basic attack and E really quickly like this, and then you reduce with your first basic attack as well the cooldown of your E if you're quick enough, and you can visually see that it's a bit smoother to reset the E. But we just already talked about, of course, the base stats. Now let's talk about the activatable plus the passive differentials, right? So let's start with Collector. So Collector does have a 5% execute, 5% HP execute, and it provides you like 25 gold on kill, right? It's weird because Graves does a lot of damage on his basic attacks, right, in close range, and often you don't rely on that execute to happen. That's the truth. You often don't rely on it. While also it won't be too much damage. It's a big damage number in front of your eyes, but it's just a 5% HP execute, and it's not gonna allow you to do much, sadly. It's not gonna allow you to do much, sadly. So now let's break down the build path as well. I already said it will help you a lot in AoE camps, you know, it just wipes AoE camps. Now I know these are under leveled camps, but just to show it to you guys, you know, that you're insanely quick at like wiping waves, you're insanely quick at killing, of course, like raptors, killing waves, you know, if you occasionally need to pick up a wave. Now I know this is an under leveled wave, just to like visually show it to you guys, you know, like it's really quick and smooth, you know, like deal lots of damage to minions as well under 50% HP, right? And it just smoothens out your wave clear, your raptor and crack clear and whatnot with the cleave attack, right? Which scales up not insanely well, but it does scale up. But notably, the heretical cleave has a 100% physical damage scaling and a 150% physical damage scaling under 50% HP, which is just insane. Like the scaling is really nice on the item itself. And let's go to the build paths as well, which is a very notable thing. So you do get Tiamat, which recently got buffed, by the way, if people didn't know. Now I know it's still nerfed on range because you're a ranged champion, but that shouldn't be a big concern for you, alright? That shouldn't be a big deal because what can you do with the Tiamat? You still get a decent activatable, you deal 90 damage, 24 my bad, on your basic attacks, right? So you have some extra AoE, which now and then will help. Mainly it will help you around, of course, these void grubs, and just basically AoE camps, as I already said before, similar to Profane Hydra. So this component is not necessarily bad, especially it helps clearing waves, and it's very similar to Serata Dirk, of course, the Brutalizer, right? It's similar, it's more expensive, but it has a cheaper and a more expensive item component, and the same thing when it comes down to like Tiamat. You have 2 cheap item components, and getting 500 gold shouldn't be a big deal. Now when I go to Collector, it still has decent item components. Serata Dirk, you get 2 long swords, it's really easy to get that Serata Dirk, right? Now pickaxe and the cloak is generally not a great item to buy. Pickaxe is bit whatever as well. of an item component. So item component wise, it really, Profane Hydra really outdoes it, because these two components are generally not great, while both of his components are great of Profane Hydra. It's just like the only issue that shows up, that Brutalizer is more expensive, of course, than your Serate Dirk, but there are some ups as well. For example, Serate Dirks only gives 2580, and notably this also provides you 10 ability haste as well, while also 2 less lethality, of course, right? And now scaling wise, right, more than often people don't build more crit items than the collector. That's the problem. They don't usually, generally this is the most common build, and they don't even like buy more crit on top of collector, right? If you guys noticed it, generally people don't. We check these guys, people don't buy more crit beyond collector, right? And it really comes down to the probability itself as well, that it's very low. 20% chance on a champion that's really bullet dependent, right? Like you gotta reset your shit, you may not even crit in a all-in that messes with you, of course. So that's why I don't like collector, and especially if you don't build more crit on top of collector, the 20% is just gonna be, that's gonna be just RNGs that you're gonna get those proper crits in the proper time, right? But also scaling wise, so I don't care what do you buy. Like, you could buy Yomu's, of course, first item. I'm not really against that, if you really need that extra mobility, especially these days when mid is so hard to be ganked, and the other lanes are so hard to be ganked as well, right? So definitely Yomu's can be useful as a first item rush. I don't judge it. Profane definitely gives you like more clear speed and whatnot, right? But and more fighting power, but Yomu's is Yomu's, and it's very cheap. Like, it's really good to snowball if you need that extra mobility. But if you're looking more so to CS, or your teammates already have like insane gank setup, then you can greed for Profane Hydra. And I want to talk about the scaling differences. As I said, like, people generally don't really build more crit items. Some people do, some people don't. Now in here it doesn't matter. I don't care what do you buy specifically to your game. You could buy whatever you want. It's really up to your choice. Perhaps you could even get collector and both Profane Hydra and collector, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend you that. You can do that, but I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest to you. You could do that. Like, both of them are snowbally items. Hubris probably is kind of dog shit. We're just looking basically for some lethality items mainly, perhaps some utility tools. You know, it really depends on your game, on what do you want to go for. You could even go IE if you want to go for a more scaling oriented build, but then you need to get the collector as well, so you could mix it in like so many different ways, of course, in your liking. But let's get down to the point. So the Profane Hydra's damage also scales up really nicely, 421 and 632 under 50% HP, right? So the damage itself actually won't fall off. It will be actually quite nice. The damage itself will be actually quite nice. And later on, when you get some items that provide you cooldown as Black Cleaver, then it will feel to be nicer to have cooldown from Profane Hydra. So the E resets will be a bit more smooth, as I said. And then you'll be able to, you know, just reset that E properly, right? Like 3 basic attacks, reset your E, and that's like a good spot to be in, right? So like, you basic attack, you E really quick, you basic attack again. I missed some bullets actually there, it's on me. So again, I think I messed it up a bit. No, I think I messed it up a bit. Let's see if I can pull. Just reset this. Okay, so apparently it's kind of hard to pull it up. And sometimes the bullets spread, but I think you guys got my point, right? That in 3 basics you can reset it properly if you do the combo correctly, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah, like this, something like this, right? And I think that's it for now, guys. Have a nice day.